Hey, it's Mary and I'm back with another scrapbooking layout process video. Here's a picture of Shimelle Laine's scrapbook layout that I chose to take inspiration for this week's challenge, and we are scraplifting Shimelle Laine, as you can see. So I have gone ahead and picked some papers that I really love, and here I'm showing you again Shimelle's layout. I picked her layout because it had a bunch of scattered tiny bits at the top, from enamel dots to some, it looked like a couple of brads. There was just a bunch of stuff at the top, and I thought, that would translate really well for sequins. So I grabbed the pink paisley Summer Lights line, and I'm going to have at it. So that background paper that you see is like a floral abstract. It has really cool ombre effect on it, and I thought that went really well, especially since she used an ombre background paper. And then I grabbed some 6x6 papers from the 6x6 pad. The clouds, obviously, because this is a picture of my son and my husband looking at clouds. And then I wanted to pull in more of the yellow, and I loved the striped background paper that I used for the main center background paper. Now I pulled the yellow polka dot paper from the 6x6 pad, and I realized I wanted bigger polka dots because the clouds on the right were bigger and had more white space. So just to balance out that white space, instead of using a tiny white polka dot with a yellow background, I wanted the larger white polka dot with a background. And as you could see before, I was referring back and forth between Shimelle's layout and what I was doing, because I want to scrap lift this as close as possible. I really want to take in her elements and make them my own, but keeping in mind her layout and scrap lifting it as close as possible. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to gut the background because I really wanted to use the B side of this sheet. I almost said shit. There, I just did it. Anyway, I wanted to use the B side of this paper because it had this really cool graph grid on it, and I wanted to use that because she had a grid in her layout as well, and I thought that the color would go really well for layering behind the photo. So what you're seeing me do right now is just gut it, and I won't make you watch the whole thing. So once that paper has been gutted and then placed on just I have cheapo white cardstock from, I think it's Walmart, and it's sturdy enough to use for backing, but I don't use it for anything else except for backing. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer down all of my pieces. Now my 6x6 piece in the middle there wasn't large enough, so you saw me cut it in half, and my photo and all of my layers are going to cover that. So it's a sneaky way to stretch a 6x6 piece of paper if that's all you have to work with. So one of the differences that that's different between Shimelle and I, see, I don't know if I said this before, but Shimelle and I are two completely different scrapbookers. I really admire her work. I think that she is a fabulous teacher. She has taught me so much about composition and just the ins and outs and the whys of why she puts things down on a page, colors that look good together, basically scrapbook theory, if you will. And she's amazing at that, and I've learned so much. But her style and my style are not the same whatsoever. So I want to make this a layout that is Mary. It's a Mary layout because you guys know I'm pretty fluid. I'm not very straight lined unless I'm doing a geometric or a grid style layout. So I want to stretch myself to be able to do things that I don't normally do, but at the same time, I still want my own artistic, creativity to come in and be shown through the layouts that I make. So one of those things that I did that was different than her was I ripped the bottom of the two side layers, and then she usually doesn't pop much up on foam to give it dimension. She'll use chipboard pieces, and she will pop up little tiny things on dimension. I don't know if I've ever seen her pop up a photo on foam or not, but that is another thing that I love to do, is just to break up the flatness on a page. And like I said before, you'll see me going back and forth to her picture and just to see what else am I missing. And so I grabbed this grid piece of paper that was from a Smashbook. I don't use Smashbooks, but I bought like 3 of them when they were in style, thinking, well, this would be a great way to document while I was brand new with Abby, or a brand new mom with Abby, and I didn't have a lot of time to sit down and scrapbook. So I thought, well, that would be a good idea, just to do some scrapbooking and journaling in the Smashbook, and I never did it. But the papers are really high quality, so I held on to them, and now I'm using them. I'm actually using them a lot. So I wanted to keep Shimelle's like black thicker theme going. She used a glitter foam thicker at the top, but I had this set from Dear Lizzie, and it had Remember in there and then Love Today in there. And I just loved that sentiment for this picture, because this picture is my husband and my son looking at a wildfire that we watched kind of explode on the hill that's opposite of us. Last year we had a wildfire that came within 2 miles of our house, but we're surrounded by a lot of like vineyards and orchards, so we're pretty safe, especially in this area, because it's just brush fire. There's nothing really to feed a hot burning fire. It's just sagebrush. So I wanted to document Remember to Love Today, because it can be taken away so quickly. And that was one of the lessons that we learned when we went to go chase this wildfire. So one of the things that Shimelle does quite often is that she edges her papers when she layers them. I don't edge my papers, and I don't really care for the look of edged papers. I'm not that kind of distressed person. I'm distressed in other ways. So anyway, what I do like to do, though, and you guys have seen this before, is to just run a border around my layouts. And so I did that around some of the layering pieces and then around the outside of the layout. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my SHIMMERZ mists. This is Jeni Bleu, the Vibez, so it has a little bit of a shimmer to it. And then I am going to let that set, and then I'm going to work on the top here in just a second. So I'm going to pull out all of my enamel dots, some sequins, and I'm just going to go to town. So these are just enamel dots for my stash, and I placed the blue on the blue in that kind of area, because Shimelle had, not only did she have an ombre background, but then she ombre'd the top from left to right, so it was 3 different colors at the top. Now my paper is definitely ombre'd from the bottom up, but then the top is ombre'd in a 3rd way, from the yellow to the green to the blue. So it goes from that like reddish purple color into more of a red color, pink color, and then it goes into the yellow, green, and the blue. So I thought that was really cool and perfect for the technique that she did. So now that I have gone through my entire stash to look for enamel dots, I'm just pulling out colors I think would go together. I didn't end up liking the green dots that I put down, so I'm going to go with a different color, and I'm going to go with that pink color that's down at the bottom. And I think that was a way better choice than keeping it with the green. And Shimelle, she didn't do color on color like I was originally attempting to do. And the other thing that worked really well is that it brought that pink that was down at the bottom all the way up to the top, so that it wasn't so bottom heavy. And that's something I feel like that Shimelle would probably do as well in this layout if she was using these papers, is pull that pink from the bottom up to the top. So now I'm going through the sequins mixes, and I'm going to use another new to be released sequins mix. Hopefully, see, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to be gone all this week, so this video will go live while I'm away. So I'm hoping that Jody releases these sequins next week. She probably won't, though, but consider this another sneak peek for what's to come. So the one on the right that I'm using, the blue, the aqua colors, is called Aquarius, and that will be released soon in the SpiegelMom scrap shop. Then in the center, I used some of the pinks from Sweet Summer Vibes, And then on the left, I used just Beachin It, which is unfortunately sold out. And Jody, I really, really, really want more. So if you're watching this video, which I know that you probably will, just hint, hint. Even if you make me a little extra something, something, you know, because I'm such an amazing design team member. Oh, I'm just kidding. You just keep coming out with new fabulous mixes and I'll stop reliving the past. And then the big orange ones, they're not really orange, they're yellow, but because the yellow that I used was softer, it looked orange up against them. Those are the larger sequins from the Summer Paradise mix. And I'm just going to keep putting little sequins in to fill in some of the gaps. And then voila, it's done. So I'm going to do some journaling down here on the bottom, and I'm going to say wildfires or something we're still not used to living with on the east side of the mountains. We saw this one spread super fast and decided to go for an evening drive to see it closer. It's a good reminder to be thankful every day. Now, we were still pretty far away from this fire. We ended up getting a lot closer, but I just loved this picture of my husband and my son. And don't worry, I mean, we weren't in any danger or anything. We actually went all the way up to where the road was blocked, and it was like a hill so that we could really see it burning. And there were a few houses that were in danger, but only one shed got burned down. So while it's unfortunate for somebody to lose their shed, of course, everything was pretty well protected. I really had to stretch my imagination for sentiments that would go really well. And Shimelle only had like 4 pieces of ephemera in her layout, but you know me, I can't do anything simple. So I ended up putting a little bit more in, but I felt like it balanced it pretty well. I used some from the sticker sheet, I used some from the ephemera, and I also used some from a 12 by 12 sheet that I had fussy cut out. And I'm going to make sure that some are flat and that some are popped up on foam so that it gives it a little bit more dimension, because as I mentioned before, I really like to add that dimension in. And then of course I have to place it just right. So I end up moving this little Embrace the Day. I fussy cut that out. When I first got the collection, what I did was I purchased papers that I wanted to use to fussy cut. And I took those papers and I fussy cut them right away and then just added them in with my ephemera. Now what I realized was with the Chase the Sunset piece that I had fussy cut out before, it was just too big. So what I did was I just punched it out from the 6x6 sheet, and I'm kind of testing it to see if I could get it into the shape of a cloud, but I would lose a lot of the image if I got it in the shape of a cloud, so I just went ahead and fussy cut that out again. And then this summer lights at the top left, which was perfect because this was a summer light for us living on the side of the mountains with the wildfires and everything. This is definitely a part of our summers, and especially in August. There hasn't been a single year that we have lived here that there hasn't been wildfires around us. So, and that little square came from a 12 by 12 sheet again that was sticker backed, which was awesome because you got like a ton of little pieces of ephemera from that. And then I'm going to go ahead and take these enamel shapes. I'm going to use the hearts because in the title I said remember to love today, so I went ahead and I used hearts. I scattered them in 3 different spots around the page, and then I realized I didn't have that kind of aqua color to add up in the right, so I added an Ellie Studio puffy heart up there. And then I thought I might bring in some wood buttons because I know that she had brads in hers, and here I'm referring back to it again, and I ended up not using the wood buttons because I felt like they were just too different than everything else I had going on. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a date stamp there on the right and look at it one more time and realize it's a little, the splatters down at the bottom need to be a little bit more heavy to kind of draw your eye down a little bit more. So I added in some black shimmers in Night Moves, and this is a Coloringz, so that's not shimmery. And then I'm going to call it done. Thanks so much, you guys, for watching. Here's a reveal of my layout, and then here is Shimelle's layout. So I hope that you really enjoyed this video and that you challenge yourself to scraplift something or someone that you're an opposite style from, and then make it your own. Because I feel like we learn a lot when we challenge ourselves to scraplift people who don't share the same style as us. We learn so much. Anyway, go to the SpiegelMom Scrap Shop and check out what is in the store. SHIMMERZ acrotones are still in stock, but they are on sale. So if you need to stock up on that, then go get them now. Remember to like and subscribe, and here's my 15% off code for the SpiegelMom Scrap Shop. See you later. Bye.